Hi everyone and welcome to Astar's Place. Mother's Day or Mothering Sunday, whichever it's called in your side of the world or your area of the world, is not that far away. Here in New Zealand it's the second Sunday in May, and this is a design that I'm going to make for my mother, and I'm going to use these beautiful, beautiful chrysanthemums. I absolutely love them, and I must just tell you that when I was doing my training they were ginormous, and I don't know whether my eyes are getting smaller or what's happening, but you know, these flowers keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But I represent this here in New Zealand as the Mothering Sunday flower, and I don't know, maybe it's just a tradition in our family. But the other thing that I love about them is they're steeped in history. They are the national flower of Japan, and legend has it that the emperor sat in the middle and all of the subjects bowed into him. I love that story. And I know that when Queen Victoria gave Albert the task of looking over and overseeing the designing of the Crystal Palace, that when they went to the opening, there were thousands of these all lining either side of the pathway, and it was a flower that Queen Victoria liked as well as the lavender that she liked. So what I'm going to do this for my mum and my son, who is directing and on the other side of my visual line. With Mothering Sunday coming up, my dear Slade, I would really like you to attempt to make this for me, and perhaps you could attempt to make it for your gran. Right, I've got a basket here, and what I thought I'd do this year is I'm going to make it a little bit more shabby chic. And for those of you that aren't quite up to speed with what the term shabby chic means, it's sort of like old and faded and a little bit of new and a little bit of old, and it just looks like it's seen better days, but it's upcycled to another look. So using the cane here, and then using a piece of scrim or hessian, I'm going to put that into there to line the basket. I've got an O bowl with 2/3 of a block of foam, or the green foam, which I've soaked in water. Just put it into the bucket and let the bubbles just rise to the surface, and as it saturates it will sink down, and that's when the bubbles stop rising, you'll know that that's ready to go. Right, put that into there like that, and to go with this I've got some ivy. Now unfortunately I don't have any fresh ivy because the neighbour down the road poisoned it and cut it off, so I don't know where to get a new supply, but for today it's not really going to matter. And anyway, we're weeks away from Mothering Sunday. Okay, that can go into there, and this here I'll put over there. So I'm just really letting the ivy just extend and do what it wants to do. If you didn't have any artificial ivy and you had access to some little plants that you can buy from this the garden centre, you could actually just line the outside with just the little baby ones and just have those all sort of like falling out over the sides. Right, I've got a couple of bits left. I'll put one bit into there, and I'm going to bring that over and into there. So pretty much like we do with the fundamentals, you know, what you do on one side you do on the other. Right, I've got a few extra pieces here which I'm going to now put into the middle, and to know what your width, what height, distance or length you need, it's just the size or the width of your inner container. Right, put that into there, and then I'll bring that into there. Actually, that's not looking too bad. I quite like it with that scrim on there. That was an afterthought, I might add. Now I've also got some spray chrysanthemums. I love these. I just love the whole combination, and I just love that smell. This just reminds me of the earth, and it's a smell that's been with me for years and years and years. I absolutely love it. Right, now to get the right proportion, because I don't want these to stick out too far, and the reason I don't want them to stick out too far is these are quite fragile flowers, and if you maybe it might do it, or see if it happens. I know that, you know, if one of those gets loose, then they'll just all sort of like start to fall out. Well, they're not going to do it for me today, are they? But normally they do. If one comes away, then they'll all come away. So I don't want them to be extended too far. So what I've done on that side, I'm going to do on this side. And how many more of these have we got? One more of those. I'll bring that over into there, and I'm just going to have these sort of like, some a little bit lower, some a little bit higher. These are just a little bit lower again, and then with a look at this. Isn't that just beautiful? Isn't nature clever? And look at the size of those. Oh, they are so gorgeous. And what I really love about the chrysanthemums too is that they last such a long, long time. Right, pushing that down well into there. Now with these major big mums, now don't forget to slant cut them, and to get rid of any of those wee leaves that may just be going into anywhere near the foam, so that it doesn't get all squished up in that hole. Right, one over to that side. I'm going to bring one into the centre, being very careful, put that into there. And now I'm just looking into these just arrived for me today, and I'm noticing that there are those little wee brown bits there. Just take that off very gently, and hopefully nothing's going to fall out of that. So I've got one there, I've got one over here, and I'm just going to bring this one over into there and take that down a weeny bit lower so that I can actually see and appreciate each of the flowers for their own little special worth. This one here I'm going to take over into there. Oh, look at that. It's just like this big white bowl of love that my mother will absolutely adore. And to just fill you in, I've been making this design for my mother since I was about 6 or 7 years old. I've loved flowers all this time. Okay, right, from there I've got another one of that. I just might put a little few just down in there, because I can see that I've got just a few little voids, as they term it in the industry, and I've got not enough on this side. So in fact, I'll just show you what I mean by that. So when you look into that, see there's that little hole into there, or that little void, just get a little flower and just push that into there, and then just go around with your little single heads, oops, get off there, filling in those little wee spaces. So it's similar to what we've done, and as I've talked about the fundamentals of flowers, but it's just making it just a little bit looser than what we normally would. Right, there we go, have a look at that. I've got one more piece of foliage, so what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to gently just put that down into there, just to give me a little bit more contrast and a nice little sort of resting space. And I've had a few requests from people asking about design and colour and how to put things together. Well, in a few weeks' time, I am going to come into doing more colour so that you can keep up to speed with what I'm talking about. Now, aren't these just beautiful, gorgeous little hydrangeas, little single floret heads? I'll show you how to make these two very, very soon. I'm just trying to get the pattern and template sorted out. But these here I thought would be just lovely to just put down into there, and that's bringing that scrim fruit from there into there. So I've got one lot there, and because I've done that, I'm going to put another lot over there, and I've got this little bit into there, so I'll just put that into there like that. Oops. Now, that's what I don't want to see, are those little bits that I've nipped off there. So just cut those little ends off and just turn that around. And the other thing here is I've got these little roses, and they could just be, I thought that they were quite, yeah, they are quite nice. You could actually, I tell you what else you could do with these is you could wind those around the handle if you wanted, but I don't want to do that. I think I might just want to just gently poke those in amongst the flowers, and I'll do a little clustered group there. And I call these my little surprises, so that each year I give Mum something a little bit different so that she can look at it and think, how did she make that rose out of that hessian? So it's a surprise. And then when I go to see Mum, I show her how I've done them, and she thinks I'm terribly clever. Well, not necessarily terribly clever all the time. So I'll put one there, and I'll bring that one round to there. And the other thing I found was this beautiful little heart, and it's just got a little bit of bark on it. So I thought that that would be really lovely just to stick that into, oh no, I'll put that up into, no I won't, I'll put that down into there like that. And then if you wanted to finish the whole thing off, what you could do is to just get a longer piece of hessian, or I think that in some places they call it burlap. Just put that onto there like that, and then we'll just have a really loose and formal bow. A bigger bow would have been much nicer, however I don't have a bigger bow, but that will do, I'm sure. My mother won't mind. I'll just make that a bit bigger there, and I'll cut that off there like that, and there we have it. Isn't that just gorgeous? I know my mother will love that. Easy to make, and this will last for such a long time. I hope you've enjoyed watching that sleigh, because I expect to see it for Mother's Day this year. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you another day.